Hey MedSurg students, now that I've explained the indications for chest tube insertion, I'm going to explain to you what we attach the chest tube to once the chest tube is inserted. So we attach the chest tube to some type of closed chest tube drainage system, okay? All different types. There's wet chest tube drainage systems, there's dry, Pleurovac, Atrium. Listen, don't stress because the nursing care is basically the same no matter what kind of closed chest tube drainage system your organization uses or the surgeon you work with uses, okay? It's all based on 3 basic principles that I'm going to teach you right now. I'm going to oversimplify this for you so that you can understand how chest tubes work, okay? And so you can be a safe nurse, okay? So it's either called the 3-chamber system or the 3-bottle system. Now, when I first went into nursing, we actually had 3 glass bottles on the floor if our patient had a chest tube. Now we've got great closed chest tube draining systems, and I'm going to show you that in a different video. But right now, I need to explain the basics to you. Okay, so chamber number 1, right here. It's called your collection chamber, okay? This goes to the patient, and it drains fluid, which collects here, okay, and air. So it comes in, and then the air can go up, you see through this tube here, it's like a little straw, comes through, and it goes down into the second chamber, which is called the water seal chamber. This is a very important chamber, and what happens in this chamber is usually highly tested, so pay attention, okay? So the water seal chamber allows pleural air to escape into this chamber, but it doesn't allow it to go back up into the pleural space, okay? This chamber is typically filled with 2 centimeters of water. You will see titling in this chamber. When your patient breathes in, it'll go up. When your patient breathes out, it will go down. This is either called titling, oscillating, okay? So if you don't see titling, there's 2 things that could have happened. Your chest tube is kinked, the patient may be laying on it, right? Or maybe the lung re-expanded. So those 2 things keep in mind, all right? Now, you should never see constant bubbling in this chamber. If your patient has a pneumothorax, you will see an intermittent bubble on exhalation and also maybe when the patient coughs, but it's intermittent. And they have a pneumothorax, so we expect it. If your patient didn't have a pneumothorax and now they have a bubble here, that may be a problem you need to talk with the provider about, okay? Now, we'll move on to the next chamber, okay? So again, it's gonna come up through here and through here, and this is the suction control chamber. Now be careful. Sometimes it's referred to as the water suction control chamber, which can be confusing to new students, okay? So it's suction control. Now, in all my years as a nurse, I've never filled this chamber up with water. I've never filled it up to anything but negative 20 centimeters of water. And this will make more sense to you when I actually show you what a wet suction chamber looks like, okay, in a different video. Okay, now this chamber right here, you're going to connect to low suction. The reason you just connected to low suction is help restore negative pressure, okay, in the pleural space. So this chamber right here is where you're going to see gentle bubbling, and you only want to turn that suction up until you get soft, gentle bubbling, okay? See how easy that was? Now look, let me just say it one more time. First chamber is collection chamber. This is where fluid is collected. It's connected to the patient over here, okay? Fluid and air come in, but they can't get back out. The air comes over here, it comes and it travels and it goes underwater in the water seal chamber. This is the chamber where you're gonna be looking for air leaks, okay? Your patient, if they have a pneumothorax, you should expect a little leak after they cough or when they're exhaling, an intermittent leak. You should never see constant bubbling in this chamber. If you do, it means you have an air leak, okay? you should see tidling in this chamber or oscillating. So when the patient breathes in, the water is going to go up, and when they breathe out, it's going to go down, okay? If you lose tidling, you come in, there's one or two things that happened, okay? Either it's kink, so look and see if your patient is laying on it, or perhaps the lung has re-expanded. Maybe it's 4 or 5 days out, and now your patient's doing better. The tidling has stopped. It may be time for the chest tube to be de-seeded. Okay, the next chamber is the suction control chamber, sometimes called the water suction control chamber. Be careful, right? Don't confuse 2 with 3. This chamber right here goes to low wall suction till you get gentle bubbling in this chamber. Okay, so this chamber you will see gentle bubbling. That's it. That's the basic principles behind the 3 bottle system.